Good morning. This is Anna Patterson with the North Carolina Housing Coalition. Thank you for joining us this morning for our housing call. And without further ado, I will turn it over to our Director of Housing Policy, Stephanie Watkins-Cruz.
Good morning, everyone, and Happy New Year, since it is the first housing call of 2025. I hope your years are off to a great start. Been pretty frigid, so hope everyone is staying warm and safe. We're going to go ahead and kick it off with organizational updates. Go ahead and save the date if you haven't already for this year's Bringing It Home, Ending Homelessness in North Carolina conference on May 15th through the 16th at the McKimmon Center in Raleigh. We will be co-hosting this conference with the ESG office at the North Carolina Department of Health and Human Services ESG office, as well as the North Carolina Coalition to End Homelessness. And this year, we will be featuring the National Coalition for the Homeless Executive Director, Donald Whitehead Jr. So very excited to have him as our keynote. Homelessness service professionals and allies are going to gather for 2 days to learn, network, and collaborate with industry experts from across North Carolina and beyond. So we're really excited to gather for this event. We'll have more than a dozen presentations, panels, and workshops that'll cover a broad range of topics related and around homelessness. And there are also going to be opportunities to network and share your own insights. So registration is going to open in March. We'll have links in the call notes for you to sign up for updates and also check out our Bringing It Home 2025 conference page. And you can contact our Director of Communications, Haley Solomon, with any questions, and we'll make sure to include her email in the call notes as well. Moving on to federal and national updates, there's some key things to be aware of this week. The federal point-in-time count data from 2024 was actually released in late December and found that there was the largest number of people experiencing homelessness on record. So between 2023 and 2024, the number of individuals that were experiencing homelessness in North Carolina increased by 17%. And increases in unsheltered individuals actually outpaced increases in sheltered individuals across the state, 25% to 10%. The 2024 point-in-time count also identified almost 12,000 people experiencing homelessness across North Carolina. The 2025 point-in-time count will be taking place in communities across the U.S. later this month. The CFPB finalizes their rule to remove medical bills from credit reports. So this is huge. They expect that the rule will lead to the approval of approximately 22,000 additional affordable mortgages every year, and that Americans with medical debt on their credit reports could see their credit scores rise by an average of 20 points. Big news. The House and Senate announced assignments for key committees. We'll have a link to those assignments, particularly those that are responsible for housing and homelessness policies and programs. Just a reminder, Republicans hold a majority in both the House and Senate at the national level. Senator Thom Tillis will continue to serve on the Senate Banking and Finance Committees, and newly elected Representative Tim Moore will serve as a member of the House Financial Services Committee, which was previously chaired by Representative Patrick McHenry, who did not run for re-election. On Thursday this week at 10 a.m., the Senate Banking Committee will hold a nomination hearing for Scott Turner, who is President-elect Trump's HUD Secretary nominee. Turner previously led the Opportunity Zone work during Trump's previous administration. And we have a few more links for some HUD press releases that came out about the work that's going on with modernizing affordable housing regulations and different financing flexibility for you to check out. On the state and local government side, the General Assembly reconvened last week for the start of the 2025 long session. I was able to be there, and it was pretty cool. First time being there on the kickoff day. Very ceremonial, a lot of families around the building, and it's really interesting to see what's going to happen this session. HUD recently announced 2 different Community Development Block Grant Disaster Recovery Awards, so CDBG-DR awards for Helene recovery in North Carolina. $1.4 billion will be awarded to the state, and $225 million will be awarded directly to the city of Asheville. In line with that, our new governor, Josh Stein, signed 5 executive orders in his second day in office in order to expedite Helene recovery. In one of his first executive orders, Governor Josh Stein announced the creation of the Governor's Recovery Office for Western North Carolina, or GROW-NC. And this office is going to be tasked with leading the Helene recovery efforts and will be led by former Wake County Commissioner Matt Calabria. There's several other things happening around the state for you to check out. I'm going to go ahead and move on to events. Going to list up, if you have not been to a National Low Income Housing Coalition policy forum, I highly recommend. Their events are wonderful. Registration is open for their forum this year from March 24th through the 27th. There is also going to be several webinars hosted by folks at Enterprise, at the Turner Center for Housing Innovation at UC Berkeley. That one is going to be taking place on January 22nd at 1 p.m., titled States as Laboratories, Early Lessons from Pro-Housing Designation Programs. And then there's going to be a webinar on the 29th, hosted by Enterprise Community Partners, on housing as a pathway to justice, introducing a national toolkit at that intersection between justice and housing. And reports and resources, I'm going to list up two, but we have several others that you can check out. The first is a recommended summary report from Novogradac titled Strengthening Affordable Housing with State Tax Credits, Recommended Practices and Key Considerations. It's a good read, and I just want to highlight that one of the key points that they mentioned over and over again is that there are many states that have been using a state tax credit model to bolster and further the impact of the National Low-Income Housing Tax Credit, or the Federal Low-Income Housing Tax Credit. So this is a report that I think just reemphasizes the need for state resources at the state level, and many states are going the state tax credit route. The 2024 Annual Homelessness Assessment Report to Congress, the first part of it was released, and so that is also linked in the reports and resources section and will be available for you to read. We highlighted some of those points earlier in the federal news portion. There is one more that I want to lift up that is pretty timely. So there is a piece by HUD, a reference guide for equitable disaster recovery, titled Fair Housing and Disaster Recovery, and it's going to be important to keep fair housing in mind when it comes to disaster recovery, especially over the next several years. So this reference guide in particular is targeted towards recipients of community development block grants and those receiving CDBG-DR, so the disaster recovery block grants, and mitigation, so CDBG, MIT grants, as well as various community organizations and nonprofits that work in advancing fair housing and civil rights work. We have several pieces in the news for you as well. I want to go ahead and let you all know that our 2025 county profiles will be coming out at the end of this week. So keep your eyes peeled for that, and we'll have several other complementary resources that go along with the county profiles this year so that they can be as helpful as possible for you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. I hope you all have a great rest of your week, and we'll talk to you next time.